Serpent, and I want to explain this to you. I think this is also really important because I could see a lot of people not understanding this. Hey, welcome back to the channel. All right, it's time to talk about learn to play the latest champion into MCoC, which is the Destroyer. This guy is pretty phenomenal. We will take a look at some fights, show you his different rotations, large fights, small health pools, the whole thing. Take a look at the recoil friendly, his signature ability, the relic you want to use with them, and then of course, as always, I will place him on the initial tier list. Now, if we learn new things about him, which usually happens with champions as they spend some time in the contest, or if they get rebalanced up or down, I will of course add that in with the pinned comment, or if it's a substantial enough change or substantial enough new things, of course we will make videos on that. So make sure you keep an eye on all of those things. But here's what we need to know, and I got to tell you, this guy is pretty darn good. All right, let's go ahead and get this started. We're going to take a look at this. Is going to be that baby Drax. So I'm not running recoil, and I'm running a 20% attack boost to simulate what it would be like to have a 6-star rank 5 sig 200 ascended. Okay, so we're going to start off with this baby Drax, and just we're going to talk to you. I don't like to read to you. I like to tell you what's going on and show you as we see it. But essentially, Destroyer is all about these destruction charges, right? If someone tries to armor break him, he's going to get 2 of them. You ideally want to get up to 100. We'll talk about why and how and all that stuff. You're going to gain 5 destruction charge whenever intercepting the opponent or when punishing a heavy or special attack. So you're going to see like bait this. Watch, I'm going to punish it. Get 5 of those destruction charges. Like I said, you ideally want to get up to 100 because you're going to get this massive 4-bar power gain. But when the health pool is small enough, you do not need to go all the way to your SP3. I think where you're often going to be using them, that's what's going to be happening. But you can see this power gain coming on. We've got these 4 pretty large Furies, and we just absolutely destroyed that Drax. It's relatively quick. I don't think he's going to be a nuke. This is not Hitmonkey, so keep that in mind. If you're expecting that, I think you're going to be a little disappointed unless there's just something I have not figured out with him, which I'm open to that idea. But 38 seconds, that's not bad. And then I'm going to show you some of this larger healthful stuff, and you're going to see once he gets there, and his ramp doesn't take that long, the damage is really, really good. Really, really exciting. Really, really cool. Okay, so this is the bigger health pool. And so as I was telling you, we're going to get those destruction charges, right? And every time you get 25 of them, you're going to get a Fury passive for 1,601. And one thing, there's a lot of things I really want to get across to you, but one of the really big things I want to get across to you, because this took me a few times to kind of really make sure I was doing it right, is they will fall off, but you can refresh them just by knocking the defender down. So this is really cool. I like it for a lot of reasons, because see, we have 2 of them right now because we've gone over 50 of our charges. You also get 30 of them from throwing your SP1. So you want your SP1 to hit, and each hit of the SP1 gives you, I think it is 10, right? So that's why I'm throwing a couple SP1s. But the other really big part of strategy playing them is you don't need to throw your SP1s over and over and over and over to do it. You know, you're going to get it from punishing heavies, punishing specials, those destruction charges. I threw 1 SP1, and you can see, and then I just built my way up to the SP3. We'll talk about the signature ability when it's time, but I really like the signature ability for giving you some flexibility in managing that power gain. And like I said, we'll talk about it when we cover the signature ability. Remember, there's timestamps all over the place too. So you can see I'm kind of waiting here. I'm going to get my destruction charges. So this takes a little bit of time. Like I said, he's not a nuke, but then once you get here, look at this. This Drax is at 72% health. The rest of this fight takes about 30 seconds. And that's including the SP3 animation. It's pretty wild. Okay, so we are now unblockable. We've got this big 4-bar power gain, and that's why I like getting to the SP3 before you even trigger all of the destruction charges. These SP2s are doing a massive burst of damage off of the SP2 because we have the degen passive from the SP3. The SP3 places that degen passive. You get that huge power gain. You also get the energized passive from just hitting the opponent. So that's why you can cycle those SP2s faster and faster and faster. And you saw all the massive damage we did there. Okay, now let's tie it all together. We're going to do that Drax again. I do have recoil on this time. You're going to see it doesn't make that massive of a difference, interestingly enough. We're going to tie this all together. We're going to get our destruction charges. We're going to throw 1 SP1. We're going to punish heavies. We're going to intercept, right? And we're going to punish special attacks. Another thing I really like about him, and you're going to see he has a phenomenal flow score, is he gets that unstoppable passive, right? So you can't get rid of it, basically. But it also stays for 0.5 seconds after you finish that dash animation, which is really nice because if you do miss the intercept, you get hit, you're still passively unstoppable. You can help yourself out. And then if the opponent has a protection or has a buff, you get a protection passive too. You can see that we've got 10 of them up there. Right? It just kind of helps you mitigate any damage from an aggressive playstyle. You can see I knocked Drax down because I wanted to refresh my passive heavies. I'm going to keep repeating the stuff so you can get it. I know we got to hear things quite a few times. And you can see I threw one SP1 and I'm going to build up the rest of my destruction charges, that orange passive up to the left-hand corner, by just kind of playing well. You don't have to play them too crazy, and there's some built-in kind of safety nets. You do lose your unstoppable if your intercept doesn't land, but that's fine. He's not impossible to hurt or play poorly, but if you play him well, you're going to get really rewarded. So we're going to throw that SP3 now. We've got that massive power gain. Drax is at 67% health, and this is going to take like 20 seconds. Watch this. We are unblockable, right? And I'll talk about that again with the signature ability. We're going to throw our SP2. You see the massive red burst of damage. That didn't even crit. So let's see if this one does crit. No, another non-crit. If either one of those crits, that Drax is dead. So right there, that's Recoil. Would have made this fight about 10 to 15 seconds faster than the other one. But as you can see, why the flow on this guy is just absolutely phenomenal. Now, let's go and take a look at a little bit of his utility, right? All right, I am going to cover the signature ability fully, so we'll just kind of show you this here. But essentially, when he gets hit, when he gets hit, this will destroy any indestructible immortality buffs and place a very small rupture on the opponent. There's very much like, screw you, Herc, right? This is some really great utility here against Hulkling with what he does to indestructible buffs, right? Watch this, watch Hulkling's indestructible buffs, and anytime a opponent hits into his block, he turns those into rubble. It's that kind of purplish looking thing. So instead of Hulkling going unblockable, getting his pierce or that sort of thing, or getting his indestructible nullified and turning into an indestructible passive, none of that happens. This guy really just he seems to be the most purely designed Hulkling counter in the game. Now let's go ahead and look at this with Serpent, and I want to explain this to you. I think this is also really important because I could see a lot of people not understanding this. Off of the SP1 of Serpent, there's nothing that's really nice, but I want to explain this. The final hit is passively unblockable and inflicts a non-stacking hinder debuff of 75% potency. That's why when you saw me throwing the SP1, it wasn't just to raise our destruction charges, which is great. You want to do that once or twice, but you're also going to get this hinder passive. It's for 75%. So Serpent has gotten a new power gain. And watch this, you're going to see him just it's essentially doing nothing. Look how small that is. Look, he's throwing the special. There's very little power gain here. But what I want to get across, and you're going to see this right now, is look at his power bar. You see how it's just skyrocketing? It's not from the power gain. It's from us sending him into his immortal phase or whatever it's called. And that is ability power rate. That's not from the power gain buff. So it's not our hinder. Yeah, it's our hinder is not negating the power gain buff by 75%. I mean, it is, but there's this power gain on top of it that's not from a buff that's still happening. So this is not like America Chavez. I do want to make sure everyone understands that. I do think that's important. And then also it's immortality buffs that he turns into rubble or what have you. Serpent does not have that, so you want to make sure you understand the immortality effect or something that you're dealing with there. It doesn't mean he's not great. He is phenomenal. There being one or two champions or some things outside of it, some niche interactions, doesn't mean he's not great. He is. I just want to make sure people know why and where they're using him. All right, now let's go ahead and talk about his signature ability. I do really like it, and I think it's very good at just Sig 1, which I love. First bullet point, destroys personal power gain positives at 3 bars of power. That right there is like amazing for me. I showed it to you in the fight with Recoil, right? When I waited to make sure Drax had thrown his special, then we could throw our special 3. We're unblockable. We can just go in immediately and punish and not really worry about Draxon's power at all. So I absolutely love that. It just adds some flexibility. Is it essential to playing him? Does he need it? No. Then the next part, while any power gain effect is active, special 3 damage is increased by 50%. Another really great reason to get to your special 3, not continuously throw the special ones. Go and get to that special 3. I really like it. Getting the special 3 damage increase, really good. I'm not upset about that, but that's from the escalating sig. Second bullet point, the protection passive potency from magical enhancement armor is increased by 5%. I really like this because I think this is increasing his flow. I think it's providing a little bit of insurance for you to do those intercepts and things like that. But again, I don't think this is necessary. And then 3, when struck, inflicted instant rupture, dealing 40% of the damage. I showed you this in the Hercules. I think this is cool. I think this is kind of fun. I think it's something you want. You get initially just for signature level 1 for initial awakening. So for me, if I pull him as a 7-star, I would probably rank him regardless. And then if I get him awakened, even better. I would not put my 7-star 6 stones right now anyways. Remember, I'm filming this the day he comes into the game. I would not put my 7-star 6 stones. Those are so precious. But my 6-star, sure, why not? I've got a ton of those 6 stones laying around, and there is a nice benefit from it. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at him on the tier list. Okay, here's where he ends up on the tier list. I mean, I went through the scores. I have not checked this with the Illuminati yet, so make sure you turn in to the monthly tier list that we're going to do for the month of March. And then every month as we update this, as we learn more about a champion, as the meta changes, defenders changes, what's being asked of us changes, and is updated, and I get all the information from all the different players. But this is where he is, right? And sticking with the how amazing this is, if we remove the Alliance war score, he actually goes up. If we remove the Battleground score, he goes up even higher. And I have him with a great Battleground score because I think my initial estimation is he's going to be a good dual threat. I think he's going to have enough. He's going to counter enough of the current difficult cosmic defenders, particularly Hulkling, that you're going to be incentivized. You're going to want him in his deck. And I think, especially before people learn how to evade his SP1, he's going to propose a defensive threat too. I really think he is for some of those science champions. You're going to want to make sure you have a counter. His flow is phenomenal, right? You know I love champions that have a power gain, and he's got it. And he's got it from just playing the game. If you want to play him more conservatively, you can just throw your SP1s over and over and over, and you're going to get to the 100 destruction charges, get your massive power gain, get to your SP3, throw it, get to your SP2, still have your degen up, get the massive burst of damage. You can play him that way. And then as I showed you though, he's really built well for you to play him aggressively, go for those intercepts, punish those heavies, punish those special ones, throw one special one, get to your special 3, and then trigger the power gain from getting to the 100 destruction charges. And you, as you saw, you can cycle multiple SP2s doing like 3, 4, 5, 600,000 damage in a very, very, very short period of time. Remember, that was a 6-star 5, essentially ascended with Recoil, and you saw what he looked like without Recoil. He is recoil friendly. I don't think he needs it. You saw how good the damage is on him. I think he's very meta relevant, handling indestructible and the immortality buffs. Like anyone playing high tier Battlegrounds right now would love to be able to just remove the indestructible. He doesn't have the nullify, and his power gain handle is not great. We showed that in the Serpent fight there, that little clip there. But with that, I think it was called the Hinder debuff right off of his SP1. Yeah, the Hinder debuff off this one, that's going to reduce the potency of power gains by 75%, any buff by 75%. Really, I think this guy is like, you get to your SP3 and you're still alive, you're probably going to win the fight. And that's something I think most of us want. I think it's going to be a lot of fun in questing. I think he's probably even got some long form abilities in him, because remember, again, you can refresh those Fury buffs just by knocking them down. I really like him. As usual, though, let me know what you think we got right. Let me know what you think we got wrong. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.